everybody. So I have essentially run out of space on my bookshelves, so a fairly big unhaul is in order. I am actually selling most of these books on my Depop. The link will be in the description. If you are outside of the UK and want to buy something, please message me and I will sort you out because it is currently set to just ship to the UK. The first book is one I've actually already sold. It's The Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. I read this book back in February and I gave it 2.5 stars. I maybe even give it a low rating now, to be honest. The idea of the story was good, but it just didn't gel with me really. I wasn't the biggest fan of the writing or the characters, and when it came to like writing my initial review on Goodreads, I struggled to find stuff that I actually liked about it, but overall I didn't hate my time reading it really. Next is Yes Please by Amy Poehler. I read this a couple of years ago via audiobook actually. I love the show Parks and Recreation and I really like Amy Poehler as a person, but I genuinely forget I own this book sometimes, so it's going to a better home. I'll most likely do one last flick through of this book just to look at the pictures really before I sell it. I would definitely recommend this book though if you really like Amy Poehler and like any of the shows that she's been in. And then What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. I gave this book 3 stars, but that's mostly because of the ending, and the ending is kind of what pulled it through for me because I was very close to giving it 2 stars when I read it last year. On the surface this book is right up my alley because it's like a meet cute queer story set in New York, but it just really disappointed me. I thought that one of the main characters, who's called Arthur, was really annoying. I love Hamilton, but the references and the amount of pop culture references in general really made me cringe. At the end of the day there were equal amount of moments in this book that made me roll my eyes and want to bang my head against the book, especially at their arguments, but it also made me feel quite soft and emotional. Next is Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by David Leviton and Rachel Cohn. Again, this is a book I've already sold, but I haven't read this book. I bought it in 2014 and I just didn't think I was going to read it ever. I tried to read the first chapter, but I felt like I was trying to prove to myself why I should get rid of it. I know it is quite a popular YA book, especially pre-2015, but I just didn't want to read it anymore. Next is 13 Little Blue Envelopes by Maureen Johnson. I basically DNF'd this book at 70 pages. I thought I might go back to it someday, but I feel like I'll be almost forcing myself to read it. This is actually the first Maureen Johnson book I've technically read, but I've heard good things about stuff, so I am willing to give it another shot. Next we have The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared by Jonas Jonasson. This is another one I kind of DNF'd. I started reading it towards the end of a readathon last year and it was slightly humorous, but I just don't have the desire to fully read a book I bought in 2013 anymore. I know there's been a film adaptation of this, so maybe at some point I'll check the film out. And then we have Where Things Come Back by John Corey Whaley. I actually gave this book 4 stars last year when I read it, but it didn't become a favourite and I don't think I'm going to reread it, so it's going. I have written down my favourite quotes from this book as I had some lines tabbed. Also, I would recommend this book. It is a slightly weird book, but it is really good. We have Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. I've read 2 of this author's other books and I gave them both 5 stars, but this book was quite underwhelming. I gave it 3.5 stars. I kind of like this book and I wanted to keep on reading it, as when I put it down it was still like on my mind, but I've forgotten so much of it and it's just a book I don't want to reread. I can understand how some people would like it however, so if you've read E. Lockhart's other books then I would recommend this because you might enjoy it. Next is The Museum of Intangible Things by Wendy Wonder. I've never read this. I added it to my Goodreads purely because of the cover, which is very like Tumblr 2014. From what I understand, this is essentially a road trip book. Like with Dash and Lily's Book of Dares, I tried the first chapter, but I thought the 2 main characters were pretty pretentious and annoying. Then finally we have How to Build a Girl by Caitlin Moran. I gave this book 4 stars when I read it a couple of years ago. A film adaptation has been made of it starring Beanie Feldstein, but I don't have a desire to read the sequel at all or reread this book. I feel quite bad as well because this book is signed and personalised, but hopefully someone else will find this book and love it. Safe to say as well, I will be donating this to a charity shop unless someone else called Karis wants to buy a signed Caitlin Moran book, but I think that will be unlikely. So there we have it, the books I'm unhauling. Like I said, the link to my Depop will be in the description if you want to check out any of these books and get them for yourself. I hope you enjoyed this quick little video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Let me know about any books you've unhauled recently, and I hope you have a great day, stay safe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!